What is going on? Welcome on into today's trade recap, Friday, October 6th, 2023. The first full week of October trading is in the books, and we finish with the biggest green day of the month, of the week so far. It's only been 5 days. 126. We are on a 5-day, well, I guess if you take it back to last month, it might be more like 7 days, but we're on a 5-day green streak, and I'll explain, more about that in a second. Today we had 3 trades. Really, Google, this was a trade that, now I'll look back at it here, and I think it ends up being a full take profit play. We got stopped out initially, lost 78 on that, came back, played it again, got the actual move I was looking for, made 95. So, okay, good, better there. And then NVIDIA was a clean one and done. Now I played this with half size or smaller size. Should I have? Probably not. Looking back, I'm kind of thinking why I was thinking that way. Partially, I think because I had already taken 2 trades and I was like, I don't want to sit here and, I know when I take more trades, I tend to lose more. So that's part of it. But to be honest, there wasn't really anything systematic behind the reasoning why I took it with smaller size. It ends up making 109. So it ends up being good. But looking back, they're probably, this could have been maximized a bit better. Both of them. So first trades were on Google. I'll pull up Google's chart and we'll go through these guys because I think they are worthwhile to talk about. Inside of this one, I'll go back in here. I do want to jump over to TradingView to kind of give you a bigger picture view. But essentially, right, we had 136.50. resistance, broke that. I ended up getting in 5 minutes later than I wanted to, but still at a decent time, not at a bad entry or anything like that. But at the time, SPY was weak. SPY was not up 0.8 on the day. It was weak. So let me jump over to my trade list here. And if I jump back over to Google, which currently sits at 138, that was my upper target for the day, being 138. And I'll explain a little bit as to why that was the case. But you can see that Google is very, very close to its high of the year. So Google's been one of the strongest stocks here in the market. It's just been an absolute, I don't want to say an absolute beast. It has been in this kind of choppy consolidation trend up, if you will, right? Where every day does the opposite and it trending higher, right? Higher lows, higher highs. And now we're finally getting a better momentum push to the upside. So if I jump back to the 1 hour chart, you'll see that we had broken over the highs, and it was actually a really clean look, honestly. This is why I like the trade. So it was the multi-day high. So we had essentially put in a level just over 136 multiple days in a row. That was the high that we had yet to be able to break. And once that finally broke, that's when I was interested in playing Google, and that's why I got in Google bigger picture. So if we jump back in here, give it a sec. If I go back to, I'll go back to TradeZella here. If you go back on this chart and you were to go to a 1 hour chart, what you're going to notice is that, yes, see how clean this is? See how multiple days in a row, it was 136.57 or so. So multiple days in a row, we're holding that 150 or 136.57. We can't break it. Now, we did break it by pushing lower here than this low, which was not the best, and then snapping up. I end up playing it on that push. Now, looking back, I have to realize, hey, that's a big 1 hour candle there. It might need some time to breathe, and it kind of did, and then eventually it went. So the original stop out here, which is when I got stopped out as we had broken this resistance, okay, pushed up, I get in somewhere in here, and then it comes back. I get stopped out on this candle right here as we fell back below that resistance. I want to see it hold it. It didn't hold it. We ended up pretty much coming down, building a higher low, holding it. And that's when I was like, maybe I'm actually wrong here. Maybe I should have actually gotten or had let this thing, play out and had these lows as my stop loss. But I ended up having a stop loss. I got in a little bit later than I wanted to, but it only was 10 cents on the contract. So not a massive deal that I was worried about. And then here is the next play on Google. We can see, here's the 95. Jump back to that 5-minute chart here on TradeZella, so you can see it better just above me. And then here, I'll move it over to the side. So I get in as we hold this low. So I essentially, second trade, but it was realistically kind of playing off the first trade's idea. I end up getting in once it re-breaks that original 136.50 spot. So once it re-breaks that, I got in. But now my stop loss is going to be under these lows. But honestly, like I should have had the original stop loss under these lows. So I really shouldn't have gotten stopped out looking back on the first play. Maybe I could have adjusted sizing, gotten in at a better time, you know, a couple little things that I could have done better. But then it trends up and it works. It went for more, but I ended up stopping myself out as we started to pull back here. I think it was a breaking below the 9 EMA. And so that's when I decided to get out. Let me go back to that Google chart though, because I just wanted to pull this up and at least, you know, mention it. Big picture, I like the looks, right? So you want to look at that daily chart. You want to look at those looks, and that blue line is the breakout that we were talking about, the multi-day, you know, resistance past couple of days. So there it is. And on top of that, I end up playing NVIDIA. So that was that trade. I'll go log these here in a second. I usually mark these as either to the system or not to system, and then what the play was. So the last trade of the day was NVIDIA. Now, if you look at this trade, this actually was a pretty interesting look. And this thing is pretty crazy because I'm looking at it now and it went higher. So I ended up pulling away 21% total on this play, but it ends up making 109. I originally got in for 520, so I really didn't get in with a lot of size. Now, if I jump over to the 5-minute chart, what you're going to notice is it's one of the cleanest looks that you can get. You have NVIDIA pushing up, essentially flagging, making a bull flag, if you will, right around this 450 area with higher lows pushing up into it. I got in on the break on the candle that broke highs right here. And then I sold the first take profit. I was up around 10, 12%, I think. And the next take profit was probably 25, something like that percent, maybe more than that. And it did go a little bit higher, but then it's pulled back since, but not by much so far. It could even go for more into the end of the day. We'll see. But once it starts to break down, I'm there for the momentum, and that's it. But if I jump back and I pull up NVIDIA's chart here, you know, the reason why I'm looking at this in the first place as a trade, number one, you have this downtrend break. Is that a big deal? I don't really think it's that big of a deal. It's not as nice as AMD's downtrend. If you want to go check out a good downtrend break, check out AMD's chart. But what the key is, we're trending up past couple of days, past couple of weeks, actually. We're putting in higher lows ever since September 21st, believe it or not. So some really good relative strength, but we just broke above these highs. So there's a double top high almost, or these two upper wicks pretty much around 451.50-ish. We broke that. So once we're breaking above that, I'm like, okay, we might have some room up into this next, you know, kind of area of interest up here, 455 to 460. And that's where I pulled up Bookmap. Not to like throw a million things at you here. That's where I pull up Bookmap and I'm watching NVIDIA and I'm seeing it. And as I'm getting in this trade, like here, this little consolidation of volume dots was that bull flag. So I end up getting in right here as we push up towards 451, 452-ish. And then I'm like, where's the next area of substantial resistance? And that was this area of liquidity right here. So when we see this massive area of liquidity, I'm like, okay, that's my target. And that's pretty much, I had sold my last contract or my second contract right before that. So when we're up over 454, but prior to 455. And so it's actually working out, as that's an area that's now holding it back. And there's another one here at 456. So it's going to have to push through those areas. And then if it breaks through that, maybe we even see 460 if we get a really big, strong surge into the close. Still got a bunch of hours to go. So maybe that happens. But that's, you know, a separate trade if I want to, you know, for someone else, probably not me. But maybe it is one day. It will be me. I don't know. But yeah, that was the look there. So using that to guide me. And then if I was to go back to Google, what I was looking at, and if I go back earlier, we had trended up pretty nicely, but see this massive area of liquidity at 138. I mentioned 138 was my upper target. We ended up getting that, and it's kind of been chopping around just around that area now. Some even bigger liquidity here at 139. So that was my target, upper targets to watch. And really, as long as the trend stays intact, you know, there's no reason to sell it. And so that was kind of my mistake on the Google play, but it is what it is. We made it back on NVIDIA, or we made it on NVIDIA. It wasn't a bad day. We salvaged we salvaged a day that should not have been a red day. It was not a red day, but we ended up making it a little green day here. 125, 126 is pretty good. Pulling up here, little weekly recap. What I will say is, yes, it's been green every day this week, but am I very proud of all the days? Not really, because, you know, this is like almost a break-even day. Tuesday was a good day. Wednesday, okay. Thursday, okay. But Wednesday and Thursday, you had 2 days where you had two trades One lost, one won, and then even the winner on Wednesday was a partial take profit. And then on Thursday you had a winner and a loser. So you kind of had these 2 days where, and even Thursday I could have maximized because I entered a little too early on the loser, so that shouldn't have even happened in the first place, and that was my bad there. So I could have maximized this a bit better. But the first week is in the books with a $385 P&L, which I believe makes back, if you go back, for example, right? Let's go back to last month. I'll pull myself back up here. If you go to last month, we lost 308. We finished net down 308 last month. In 1 week, that's an entire month. Okay, here's the I'm covering some of it, but here's the look at the map. 1 week you make it all back. That's to me, that's good. That's a good sign. That's showing me that the system is operating good. And even that, dude. I mean, 5 days. If I had 5 days, right, 5 green days, let's say that they were kind of to the magnitude of today, where, you have good looks and, things work fairly well to the strategy. There's a couple little things I could tweak, but things working with the strategy and the strategy is kind of doing its thing. If you had 5 days like that, I mean, why can't you be at 900 P&L? Why not? Because there's ways to maximize that. There's better ways to scale out. Also, playing a little bit weak size on the NVIDIA. There's some more critiques to be made, but there's, so I'm happy with where we're at. Current win rate's 54%, so it's not like it's insane here by any means. Our average win-loss is absolutely nuts. 3.06 is not something that I think will be, well, it's not going to be consistently there, but that's really, really good. A lot of that is because we had some very small losses, break-even kind of losses that went down as losses, so it kind of throws it off, but it'll all kind of average out. We'll have some small winners. We'll have some small losers over the course of the months. That number will probably average out. And as long as that number, in my view, is over 1.25, 1.5 would be awesome. If you go back to last month, we had a average win-loss at 1.34 up here in the top right. 1.5 would be a nice improvement if I can average out at that point for this month. And then that just makes it that much easier on you in terms of your win rate, not needing to be 90%, which again is not realistic anyway on the big picture. But that said, cool. And this average win-loss, by the way, is per trade. So you might look at these days and go, oh yeah, this is like some guy's going to have a massive $200 loss. I certainly could have a $200 loss day. That would be because maybe 2 or I take 3 trades that day and they all lose. That's possible. In this week, we had inside of this, it wasn't like we had 5 green trades. Like this is 5 days inside of here, but they were not. There's 3 trades on Monday, 1 on Tuesday, 2 Wednesday, 2 Thursday, 3 Friday. This average win-loss is going per trade, so it's going inside of each day, taking each individual trade, which we kind of have recent trades on the left-hand side here, and it's averaging those numbers out. So the average winner is $88. The average loser is around 28 or almost 29. So there you guys have it. I'll leave links to TradeZella, to Bookmap, to TradingView, all the stuff that I use here in these videos. Like always, down below this video in the description box if you want to check them out. I appreciate that. And if you don't, you don't. But hopefully these videos are helpful to you so you can see kind of my thought process moving through. But so far off to a good start in October. I'm happy. We'll see if we can keep it going. And if we get this this move up continues, I mean, there are some good looking charts and I have done well with some of these upside breaks. So if we start getting some of that momentum, things will look good. We'll see. But thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.